Alex stepped off the transport ship and looked around the massive space station with wide eyes. The walls curved high above his head and strange lights blinked in patterns he did not understand. Aliens of different shapes and sizes walked past him without paying much attention. Some had 4 arms, others had tails that dragged behind them, and a few floated in the air using some kind of technology he had never seen before. He pulled his bag closer to his shoulder and checked the data pad in his hand. The message was clear: report to Commander Vex in the main research center. Alex had trained for 2 years to become Earth's first cultural representative on the station, but nothing had prepared him for how different everything would look and smell. A blue-skinned alien with large golden eyes approached him. She wore a white coat that looked like the lab coats doctors used on Earth, but it had extra sleeves for her 4 arms. "You must be the human," she said in perfect English, though her voice sounded like she was speaking through water. "Yes, I'm Alex," he replied, trying not to stare at her unusual appearance. "Are you here to show me around?" "I am Kira," she said, her golden eyes studying his face with great interest. "I work in the biology department. We have been waiting to meet a human for a very long time. Your species is quite fascinating from what we have read in the reports." Alex felt a little uncomfortable under her intense gaze but tried to smile. "Well, I hope I can answer any questions you might have. That's why I'm here, after all." Kira nodded enthusiastically and began walking toward a series of moving walkways. "Come, I will take you to Commander Vex first, then I can show you our research facilities. We have so many questions about human biology and culture." As they walked, Alex noticed that other aliens stopped what they were doing to stare at him. Some pointed and whispered to each other in languages that sounded like music or static. He felt like an animal in a zoo, but he reminded himself that this was exactly what he had signed up for. "Tell me," Kira said as they rode the moving walkway, "is it true that human females feed their young with milk from their own bodies?" Alex nodded. "Yes, that's right. All mammal mothers on Earth do that. It's how we feed our babies when they're very young." Kira's eyes grew even wider. "Amazing! On my world, we lay eggs, and the young must find their own food as soon as they hatch. This milk feeding sounds very efficient. Only the females can do this, correct?" "Well, mostly yes," Alex said, not really thinking about his answer. "Human mothers are the ones who normally nurse babies. Though technically, human males have the same basic equipment, it's just not usually active." Kira stopped walking so suddenly that Alex almost bumped into her. "What did you say?" Alex realized he might have said something confusing. "I mean, male humans have nipples too, just like females. It's just that we don't normally produce milk. It can happen under very special circumstances, but it's extremely rare." Kira stared at him for a long moment, then pulled out a small device and began speaking into it rapidly in her own language. Alex could not understand what she was saying, but she sounded very excited. "Is everything okay?" Alex asked. "Oh yes. Very okay," Kira said, putting the device away. "This is incredible information. You must tell me more about this later. For now, we should get you to Commander Vex." They continued walking until they reached a large door marked with symbols Alex could not read. Kira pressed her hand against a panel and the door slid open to reveal an office filled with floating screens and holographic displays. Behind a curved desk sat an alien that looked like a cross between a lizard and a tree. His skin was green and brown with patterns that reminded Alex of bark, and his eyes were small and dark. When he saw Alex, he stood up and extended what appeared to be a hand. "Welcome to Research Station Omega," Commander Vex said in a deep, rumbling voice. "I am Commander Vex, and I oversee all activities on this station. We are honored to have the first human representative join our community." Alex shook the commander's hand, which felt rough and warm. "Thank you for having me, sir. I'm looking forward to working with everyone here." "Excellent," Commander Vex said, sitting back down. "Kira will be your primary liaison for biological and cultural studies. Dr. Zane from the psychology department will help you understand our social structures. And Engineer Bolt will show you how our technology works. Do you have any immediate concerns or questions?" Alex looked around the office at all the strange technology. Everything is very different from Earth, but I think I can adapt. I'm here to learn and share information about humanity. Good attitude, Commander Vex said with what might have been a smile. Kira, please show Alex to his quarters and give him the basic orientation tour. We will have a formal introduction meeting tomorrow where he can meet the department heads. Kira nodded eagerly. Of course, Commander. Alex, are you ready to see your new home? As they left the commander's office, Alex felt a mixture of excitement and nervousness. This was really happening. He was living on an alien space station, surrounded by beings from other worlds representing all of humanity. The weight of that responsibility felt heavy on his shoulders. Your quarters are in the residential section, Kira explained as they walked through corridors filled with aliens going about their daily business. Each species has slightly different needs, so we have customized your room for human comfort. The air mixture, temperature, and gravity are all adjusted to match Earth conditions. That's very thoughtful, Alex said. How many different species live on the station? Currently, we have representatives from 47 different worlds. Kira replied. Some stay for just a few months, others like myself have been here for several years. The station serves as a neutral meeting place for scientific cooperation and cultural exchange. They stopped in front of another door and Kira handed Alex a small card. This is your access key. It will open your room and give you permission to enter common areas and research facilities appropriate to your clearance level. Alex took the card and pressed it against the panel next to his door. It slid open to reveal a room that looked surprisingly similar to a hotel room on Earth, though everything seemed slightly too big or too small in subtle ways. Thank you, Kira, he said. This is perfect. Kira smiled, showing teeth that were perfectly white, but much sharper than human teeth. Get some rest, Alex. Tomorrow we begin your real education about life among the stars. And I look forward to learning much more about human biology, especially this fascinating milk production capability you mentioned. Alex nodded, though something in her tone made him wonder if he had started something he might not be able to finish. Alex woke up to the sound of soft chiming coming from somewhere in his room. He sat up in the bed that was almost the right size for a human and looked around for the source of the noise. A small screen on the wall was blinking with what appeared to be a message. He got up and touched the screen. Kira's face appeared, her golden eyes bright with excitement. Good morning, Alex. I hope you slept well. I have prepared a very important research presentation that I would like to show you. Can you meet me in Laboratory 7 in 1 hour? Alex rubbed his eyes and checked the time display. It was early, but he was still adjusting to the stations. Day and night cycle anyway. Sure, Kira, I'll be there. Excellent. This will be very educational for both of us, she said, before the screen went dark after getting dressed and eating something from the food dispenser that tasted almost like scrambled eggs. Alex made his way to Laboratory 7, the corridors. We're already busy with aliens hurrying to their various jobs and research projects. When he found the right laboratory, Alex pressed the door chime and waited. The door slid open and Kira appeared, practically bouncing with enthusiasm. Behind her, Alex could see a large holographic display system and several pieces of equipment he did not recognize. Alex, perfect timing, she said, gesturing for him to come inside. I have been working all night to prepare this presentation about human male lactation. The implications for interspecies biology are extraordinary. Alex stopped walking. Wait, what? Kira led him to a chair in front of the holographic display and activated the system. Suddenly, the air above them filled with floating images and text in various alien languages. I have been studying everything available about human biology. Since yesterday, she explained excitedly, the fact that human males can produce milk is revolutionary. No other known species in the galaxy has this capability. Alex stared at the holographic images, which appeared to be medical diagrams of human anatomy mixed with what looked like charts and graphs. Kira, I think there might be some confusion here. Oh no, I understand perfectly, she said, pulling up more displays. You said that human males have the same equipment as females for milk production. This means that in times of food scarcity, both parents can feed the young. It is an incredible evolutionary adaptation. But it's not really like that, Alex tried to explain. Human males don't normally produce milk. I was just saying that the basic anatomy is there, but it doesn't work the same way. Kira looked at him with concern. Are you saying that human males hide this ability? Is it a cultural taboo, perhaps? Before Alex could answer, the laboratory door opened and 3 more aliens entered. Alex recognized one of them as Dr. Zane from yesterday, but the other 2 were completely new to him. One looked like a large insect with multiple eyes, and the other appeared to be made entirely of some kind of crystal material. Dr. Kira, said the insect-like alien in a buzzing voice, we heard about your discovery regarding human male lactation. This could change everything we know about mammalian evolution. Dr. Hive is correct, added the crystal being, whose voice sounded like wind chimes. If human males can produce nutritional fluids, we must study this phenomenon immediately. Alex felt a growing sense of panic as more aliens gathered around him. Really, there's been a misunderstanding, he said. Human males don't just start producing milk, it's not normal. I see, said Dr. Zane, nodding wisely. It requires specific environmental triggers, correct? Perhaps stress hormones or dietary changes? No, that's not what I meant either, Alex said. But his voice was getting lost in the excited chatter of the scientists. Kira was now projecting more images into the air, showing what appeared to be comparison charts between different species. As you can see, she was saying to the gathered group, most galactic species have only one parent capable of feeding offspring. Humans appear to be unique in having dual feeding capability. The crystal alien, who Alex learned was called Dr. Shine, turned to him with what might have been excitement. You must demonstrate this ability for our research. The Galactic Biology Council will want to document this thoroughly. I can't demonstrate something that doesn't really happen, Alex said, starting to feel desperate. You're all misunderstanding basic human biology. But the aliens were not listening to his protests. Instead, they were discussing among themselves about research protocols and documentation procedures. Alex heard words like hormonal stimulation and mammary gland activation being translated through his universal translator, which only made everything sound more scientific and official. Dr. Hive buzzed loudly to get everyone's attention. We must contact Commander Vex immediately. This discovery requires a full research team and proper equipment. Wait, Alex said, standing up from his chair. Before you contact anyone, let me try to explain this properly. The aliens turned to look at him with their various types of eyes, all focused and attentive. Alex realized he needed to be very careful about what he said next. Human males do have nipples, he began slowly, and technically the mammary glands exist in a basic form, but they are not developed like they are in females. For a human male to produce milk, very unusual things would have to happen. Hormone treatments, medical conditions, certain medications. It's not natural or normal. Kira tilted her head, her golden eyes studying his face. So you are saying it is possible, but requires medical intervention? Well, theoretically, yes. But, Alex started to say, fascinating, Dr. Shine chimed in. So humans have evolved the capability, but keep it dormant until needed. This is even more remarkable than we initially thought. Alex watched in horror as his careful explanation was twisted into something completely different. The aliens began discussing research proposals and experimental procedures, completely missing his point that this was not a normal or practical aspect of human biology. I think we need to call Commander Vex, Dr. Zane said, moving toward a communication panel. This information needs to be shared with the research community immediately. Please don't, Alex said, but Dr. Zane was already activating the communication system. Commander Vex, Dr. Zane spoke into the panel, we have made a significant discovery about human biology that requires your immediate attention. The human representative has revealed that human males possess lactation capabilities that were previously unknown to galactic science. Alex could hear Commander Vex's deep voice through the speaker. What exactly are you saying, Dr. Zane? Human males Can produce milk to feed their young, sir? This represents a completely new form of mammalian adaptation that could revolutionize our understanding of evolutionary biology. There was a long pause before Commander Vex responded. I will be there in 10 minutes. Do not discuss this with anyone else until I arrive. As the communication ended, Alex looked around at the excited faces of the alien scientists and realized that his simple explanation about human anatomy had somehow turned into the biggest scientific discovery of the year. He had no idea how he was going to fix this mess, but he knew he had to try before it got even worse. Commander Vex arrived at Laboratory 7 with 2 additional aliens that Alex had never seen before. One was tall and thin with silver skin that seemed to shimmer, and the other was short and round with fur that changed colors as Alex watched. Both wore official-looking badges and carried data recording devices. These are observers from the Galactic Research Council, Commander Vex announced to the room. They monitor all significant biological discoveries made on this station. Dr. Zane, please explain what you have learned about human capabilities. Alex felt his stomach drop as Dr. Zane began presenting Kira's research findings to the official observers. The holographic display filled with charts and diagrams that made human male lactation look like a well-documented scientific fact rather than a rare medical anomaly. According to our human representative, Dr. Zane explained, pointing to various floating images, human males possess dormant mammary glands that can be activated through medical or environmental triggers. This represents the first known case of dual-parent lactation capability in any galactic species. The silver-skinned observer made notes on her recording device while nodding seriously. Has this capability been demonstrated and documented? Oh. Eyes turned to Alex, who felt like he was standing in front of a firing squad. I haven't demonstrated anything because it's not something that normally happens, he said desperately. I was just explaining basic human anatomy. Interesting, said the furry observer, whose fur had turned a deep blue color. The human appears reluctant to display this ability. Perhaps it is culturally sensitive? Kira stepped forward eagerly. I believe the human male requires specific conditions to activate the lactation response. We should create a proper research environment with the appropriate stimuli. What kind of stimuli? Asked Commander Vex. Hormonal manipulation, dietary supplements, possibly psychological conditioning, Dr. Hive buzzed from across the room. We have the medical facilities to safely induce the response. Alex backed away from the group. You are not inducing anything. I keep trying to tell you that this is not how human biology works. But the discussion continued around him as if he had not spoken at all. The scientists and observers were now debating research protocols and safety procedures. Completely focused on their perceived discovery, the silver observer looked up from her notes. This information must be reported to the Galactic Biology Council immediately. If humans possess unique evolutionary adaptations, it could affect their classification status and research priority. What does that mean? Alex asked, though he was afraid to hear the answer. Commander Vex turned to him with what might have been sympathy in his dark eyes. It means that your species will be upgraded to Priority 1 research status. Teams of scientists from across the galaxy will want to study human biology in detail. Alex felt dizzy. Just because of a misunderstanding about male lactation? Not just lactation, Dr. Shine chimed in. If human males have this hidden capability, what other adaptations might humans possess that they have not revealed? The implications are enormous. The furry observer, whose fur was now shifting between green and yellow, spoke into her own recording device, requesting immediate consultation with the Galactic Biology Council regarding newly discovered human male lactation capabilities. Recommend establishing full research protocols and expanding human study programs. Wait, Alex said loudly, finally getting everyone's attention. Before you contact anyone else, let me try to demonstrate what I'm actually talking about. The room fell silent as all the aliens stared at him expectantly. Alex realized he had made a terrible mistake, but he could not think of any other way to stop the situation from getting completely out of control. I need to use your holographic education system, he said to Kira. I want to show you exactly how human reproduction and childcare actually work. Kira nodded and activated the system. The educational database is available. You can create your own presentation. Alex approached the holographic controls, which were surprisingly intuitive to use. He began pulling up basic information about mammalian biology from the station's educational files, trying to find examples that would help explain the difference between normal lactation and the rare medical cases he had mentioned. All mammals on Earth feed their young with milk, he began, creating floating images of various Earth animals. The females develop mammary glands during pregnancy that produce milk after birth. This is normal and expected. The aliens watched attentively as Alex showed examples of cows, cats, whales, and other mammals nursing their babies. Human males have basic mammary tissue, Alex continued, but it does not develop or function like female mammary glands. We have nipples because all mammals start with the same basic body plan before sexual development begins. He pulled up medical diagrams showing human male and female anatomy side by side, highlighting the differences in mammary gland development. In extremely rare cases, Alex went on, human males can produce small amounts of milk, but only if they have serious medical problems or take powerful hormone medications. It is not normal, it is not an evolutionary adaptation, and it is not something that happens naturally. Dr. Zane raised one of his forearms. But you confirm that it is possible? Alex sighed. Technically possible, yes, but so is growing a third arm if you expose a human to enough radiation. That doesn't mean it's an evolutionary feature. The Silver Observer looked confused. Then why do human males retain mammary structures if they are not functional? Because all mammals develop the same way early in life, Alex explained. Males keep nipples for the same reason they keep an appendix or wisdom teeth. Evolution doesn't remove things that aren't harmful, even if they aren't useful. The room was quiet for a moment as the aliens processed this information. Alex hoped that his explanation had finally cleared up the misunderstanding. Then Dr. Hive began buzzing excitedly. So humans retain multiple evolutionary remnants. Appendix organs, wisdom teeth, dormant mammary glands. This suggests humans are a transitional species with many undeveloped capabilities. Alex watched in dismay as his careful explanation was twisted into yet another reason to study humans intensively. The observers began taking notes even more rapidly, and he could see that he had only made the situation worse. Dr. Kira, said the furry observer, prepare a full research proposal for comprehensive human biological analysis. We want to identify all dormant evolutionary features that humans possess. Gladly, Kira replied, her golden eyes practically glowing with excitement. Alex, you will need to undergo extensive medical scanning so we can catalog all of these hidden human capabilities. There are no hidden capabilities. Alex shouted, but no one was listening to him anymore. Commander. Vex approached him as the other aliens continued their excited discussions. Alex, I understand this is overwhelming, but you must realize how significant this discovery is for galactic science. Humans appear to be far more biologically complex than we initially believed. Alex looked around the room at all the aliens, who were now planning to study every aspect of human biology based on a simple comment about male nipples. He realized that trying to explain the truth was only making things worse because the aliens kept interpreting everything he said as evidence of hidden human abilities. The Silver Observer called for attention. The Galactic Biology Council has responded to our preliminary report. They are sending a full research team to this station within 3 days. They want to begin comprehensive human studies immediately. As the meeting broke up and aliens hurried off to prepare for the arriving research team, Alex remained sitting in the laboratory chair, wondering how a simple conversation about human biology had turned into the biggest scientific event of the century. He had 3 days to figure out how to fix this mess before teams of alien scientists arrived expecting to discover amazing human evolutionary secrets that simply did not exist. 3 days passed quickly, and Alex spent most of that time trying to prepare for the arrival of the Galactic Biology Council research team. He had attempted several more times to explain to Kira and the other scientists that they were misunderstanding human biology, but each conversation only seemed to convince them that humans had even more hidden abilities than they initially thought. When Alex mentioned that humans could survive in many different climates, the scientists decided this meant humans had adaptive capabilities beyond other species. When he explained that humans could eat both plants and meat, they concluded that human digestive systems were uniquely flexible. Every normal human trait became evidence of special evolutionary development in their minds. On the morning the research team was scheduled to arrive, Alex stood in the station's main docking bay with Commander Vex, Kira, and several other department heads. Through the large viewing windows, he could see a massive research vessel approaching the station. That ship carries 15 of the galaxy's top biological researchers, Commander Vex explained. They have brought advanced medical scanning equipment and sample collection devices. This will be the most comprehensive study of any species ever conducted on this station. Alex felt sick to his stomach. Commander, I really think we need to have another discussion about what these researchers are expecting to find. Do not worry, Alex, Kira said cheerfully. I have prepared detailed presentations about all the human capabilities you have described. The research team will be very impressed with your species' evolutionary innovations. The docking bay doors opened with a loud hissing sound, and Alex watched as the research team disembarked from their vessel. They were even more diverse than the aliens already on the station. Some walked, others floated, and a few moved using mechanical devices Alex could not identify. All of them carried sophisticated-looking instruments and recording equipment. The leader of the group was an alien that looked somewhat like a large octopus, but with silver tentacles and multiple eyes arranged around its head. It approached Commander Vex and spoke in a voice that sounded like water flowing over rocks. I am Dr. Flo, Chief Biological Researcher for the Galactic Council, it said. We are extremely excited to study this human specimen and document the lactation capabilities that have been reported. Actually, Alex began, I think there might be some confusion about what I said regarding human biology. Dr. Flo turned several of its eyes toward Alex and studied him intently. Ah, the human subject. Excellent. We have brought equipment specifically designed to stimulate mammary gland activity in male specimens. We will begin testing immediately after we have established our laboratory facilities. Alex looked around desperately at the assembled aliens, all of whom seemed delighted by Dr. Flo's announcement. You cannot stimulate something that does not normally function. I keep trying to explain that human male lactation is not a real evolutionary feature. Fascinating, said another member of the research team, a tall alien with skin that looked like metal mesh. The subject displays reluctance to demonstrate its capabilities. This suggests possible cultural taboos or protective instincts regarding the lactation function. Dr. Flo made notes on a floating data pad using 2 of its tentacles. We have encountered similar resistance in other species when studying sensitive biological functions. We have developed protocols to overcome such psychological barriers. Alex felt panic rising in his chest. What kind of protocols? Hormonal treatments, environmental manipulation, psychological conditioning, Dr. Flo replied casually. All perfectly safe and designed to activate dormant biological systems without causing harm to the subject. I am not a subject, Alex said loudly. I am a cultural representative, and I'm telling you that you are wasting your time because human males do not normally produce milk. The research team members looked at each other and began discussing Alex's behavior in various alien languages. Alex caught fragments of translated conversation about specimen denial, protective responses, and activation resistance. Kira stepped forward and addressed Dr. Flo. Perhaps the human requires time to adjust to the research environment. I have been studying his species for several days, and I believe the lactation capability is linked to specific environmental and social triggers. What kind of triggers? Asked Dr. Flo, its multiple eyes focusing on Kira with interest. Stress responses, dietary changes, social bonding behaviors, Kira replied. I have theoretical models suggesting that human male lactation evolved as a backup system for times when the female is unable to feed offspring. Alex stared at Kira in amazement. Where did you get these theories? That's not how any of this works. I have been extrapolating from the data you provided, Kira explained to him patiently. Your initial description of male mammary capability, combined with human social structures and survival adaptations, clearly indicates an evolutionary backup feeding system. Dr. Flo was now taking extensive notes. This is even more sophisticated than we initially believed. The human species has developed not just dual-parent feeding capability, but a complex activation system based on environmental pressures. Remarkable. The metal-skinned researcher approached Alex with a device that looked like a medical scanner. We should begin baseline measurements immediately. I want to document the current state of the subject's mammary tissue before we begin activation procedures. Alex backed away from the approaching researcher. You are not scanning anything, and you are definitely not beginning any activation. Procedures. Commander Vex moved between Alex and the research team. Perhaps we should allow the human time to settle into his quarters and prepare mentally for the research process. We want him to be comfortable and cooperative. An excellent suggestion, Dr. Flo agreed. We will establish our laboratory equipment today and begin formal testing tomorrow. This will give the subject time to overcome his initial resistance to the research process. As the research team began moving their equipment toward the laboratory sections of the station, Alex turned to Commander Vex with desperation in his voice. Sir, you have to listen to me. These researchers are expecting to discover things about humans that simply do not exist. When they cannot make me produce milk, they are going to think I am defective or hiding something. Commander Vex looked at him thoughtfully. Alex, I understand that this is overwhelming, but consider the implications if you are wrong. If humans do possess these capabilities and we fail to study them properly, we could miss crucial information about evolutionary biology. But I'm not wrong, Alex insisted. I am human. I know how my own species works. Individual specimens often lack comprehensive knowledge about their own species' full capabilities, said the metal-skinned researcher who had apparently been listening to their conversation. We have encountered this limitation many times. In our research, that is why scientific analysis is necessary. Alex realized that his own protests were being interpreted as evidence that he did not understand his own biology. The more he insisted that the researchers were wrong, the more convinced they became that he was an unreliable source of information about human capabilities. Kira approached him with a sympathetic expression. Alex, I know this is frightening, but think about what we could learn. If humans do have hidden evolutionary features, documenting them could help other species develop similar adaptations. You could be helping to solve biological problems across the galaxy. Alex looked around at all the aliens who were staring at him with expectation and scientific curiosity. He realized that he had less than 24 hours to figure out how to convince an entire team of galactic researchers that they were about to waste their time studying a biological capability that existed only in their imagination. The problem was that every time he tried to explain the truth, they interpreted his explanations as evidence supporting their theories. As the research team continued setting up their equipment, Alex walked back to his quarters wondering if there was any way to fix this situation before it became an even bigger disaster. Alex spent most of the night pacing around his quarters, trying to think of a way to solve the growing crisis. Every approach he had tried so far had only made things worse. The alien scientists were completely convinced that humans possessed amazing biological capabilities, and his attempts to correct them were being interpreted as proof that he did not understand his own species. Early the next morning, his door chime sounded. When Alex opened it, he found Kira standing in the corridor with a concerned expression on her face. Alex, may I come in? She asked. I have been thinking about our conversations, and I believe I may have made some errors in my research. Alex felt a spark of hope. Please come in. What kind of errors? Kira entered his quarters and sat down in one of the chairs that had been designed for human comfort. I have been reviewing the original data about human biology from Earth scientific databases. I wanted to prepare comprehensive background information for Dr. Flo's research team. And what did you find? Alex asked. Kira looked embarrassed. I found that human male lactation is documented as an extremely rare medical condition that occurs in less than 1% of cases, usually associated with hormonal disorders or medication side effects. It is not considered a normal or evolutionary adaptation. Alex felt relief flooding through him. That's exactly what I have been trying to tell everyone. I know, and I apologize, Kira said. I think I became so excited about the possibility of discovering something new about human biology that I interpreted your words in a way that supported what I wanted to believe rather than what you were actually saying. Alex sat down across from her. So you understand now that the research team is preparing to study something that does not really exist? Kira nodded. Yes, and I'm concerned about what will happen when Dr. Flo realizes that his research expectations are based on incorrect assumptions. The Galactic Biology Council takes their research very seriously, and they do not respond well to wasted time and resources. Alex felt his brief moment of relief disappear. What do you think they will do? At best, they will be disappointed and embarrassed, Kira replied. At worst, they may decide that humans provided false information deliberately, which could affect how your species is treated in future galactic interactions. Alex rubbed his forehead, feeling a headache beginning to form. So, how do we fix this? Kira was quiet for a moment, thinking. I believe the best approach is for both of us to present the correct information to Dr. Flo and his team before they begin their testing procedures. If we can show them the actual scientific data about human biology, they should be able to understand the misunderstanding. Are you sure they will listen? Alex asked. Every time I have tried to explain the truth, the scientists here have found ways to interpret my words as supporting their theories. That is because they were hearing individual statements without the full scientific context, Kira explained. Dr. Flo and his team are professional researchers. If we present them with comprehensive data from Earth's own biological databases, they should accept the evidence. Alex considered this idea. It seemed like the most reasonable approach they had tried so far, and having Kira support him would probably help convince the research team to take the information seriously. All right, he said, how do we do this? We prepare a complete presentation. Using the station's educational systems, Kira replied. I will compile all the accurate information about human reproduction, mammary gland development, and lactation from Earth's scientific databases. You can provide cultural context and explain how the misunderstanding developed. They spent the next several hours working together in Laboratory 7, creating a comprehensive presentation about actual human biology. Kira proved to be an excellent researcher when she was working with correct data rather than trying to support a predetermined conclusion. Alex was impressed by how quickly she understood the real science once she had access to proper information. When they finished, they contacted Commander Vex and requested an immediate meeting with Dr. Flo and the research team. Commander Vex seemed puzzled by the urgent request, but agreed to gather everyone in the main conference room. An hour later, Alex stood in front of the assembled group of alien researchers, feeling nervous but determined to finally set the record straight. Kira activated the holographic display system and began the presentation. Doctor,